Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pastor Jardula here.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny Sue, Oz with the overalls, is on the ones and twos. And also Niko House is in the house, fam.
He is letting us use his studio for today since we are in South Florida. So
yes.
What did we do last night, fam?
We had fun, fam. We went to see Jimmy Dore in Dania Beach, or Dania. I'd already seen him on Wednesday, the day before, in West Palm Beach. So this was the second show. And we got to see some great activists out there. Julian Ospina, how you doing? Victor Nieto, Mr. Ramos, Marie Fonseca, just a lot of cool-ass people. It was a fun time. Tim Canova, of course. And then we had the fams. We were all there. And it was just an amazing time, a fun show. And it was great to see some of those people, fam, because Julian Ospina and Mr. Ramos, those are the old school guys that used to hang with Tim Canova, and they know all about election integrity. So we got to speak that language after, people who really know elections and understand it and understand the fraud that just takes place on a regular basis when it comes to voting for team A or B.
Yeah. Yeah. And a shout out to Layla and what was her husband's name? Mike. Who also watch us on Rokfin and who are fans of a lot of the fams. So it was nice to meet some of the fams. It was great.
Really fun time, fam.
Yeah. And so I did wake up really early to do this folder because there's a few things we need to talk about that are extremely important. We have Cory Morningstar coming on the show. So we're going to try to get through this pretty quickly. We've had a hell of a day.
Oh yeah. It's like monsooning
outside, fire alarms, issues. I don't know what's happening today, but so let's get started, fams. Do you have any super rates to read?
Yes, I do. Really quickly. We have Kristen Nye and Anna Mares. Kristen Nye, they give it a super great contribution, and it's always appreciated in Niko Studio. And as well as Anna Maris says, happy Friday, fams. Happy Friday to you too.
Happy Friday. Okay, so guys, AOC is complaining again. AOC is once again the victim. She's complaining about the dress attacks, fam, but she's also complaining about it in order to get at Republicans and to say that the reason she gets attacked, it's because she's a woman and she's a woman of color. This is the whole spin that she's doing. And I wanted to mention it because I'm sick and tired of what Johnny coined the emotional left. This is the kind of victim mentality that people like AOC are pushing everywhere. When she's complaining about the people tearing her apart for the dress, it wasn't about her ethnicity. It wasn't about her being a woman. It was about the tone deaf action, right? That so many people, even people who liked her, spoke out against. So she said, and I'm going to put this on so I can read it extremely clearly. Feels like there are a zillion scandals a month Republicans get in that would result in my expulsion or sanction if I ever did the same. I know it's a tired thing to say, but over time, it's a bummer to experience how systematically an institution treats different people. So this is in response to the quote she tweeted by Annie Grayer. She's a reporter. And this is on the House floor. Liz Cheney entered this into the record, calling out Jim Banks for sending letters to government agencies claiming he is the ranking member of the January 6th committee, even though he is not on the committee. Fam, this whole January 6th thing. Yep. We just talked about it the other day. Notice how she's spinning it, right? Yep. Notice how this is about January 6th. And now this is she's saying, see, if I did something and Republicans get to do whatever they want and I'm a victim. So I know we just talked about January 6th, fam, but any comments on that thus far?
Well, I just like the whole, I don't want to say like it, but you can spot this shit. Once again, Johnny coined the emotional left, right? And look at the keywords. Guys, it's a bummer. You know what I'm saying? It's such a bummer the way they're so nasty, whatnot. And that's what people do. It's like, it's all about your feelings, not about actual law or policy. It's just about the way they kind of treat us. It's a bummer. And also this distraction from the Democrats. Hey, listen, AOC, AO shit. The party that you're in is a dirty ass party, and your party is also a big problem. So stop just trying to play team sports and get everybody focused on the Republicans. You're not going to fool us anymore. That's it.
Yeah. So this is we can just show the letter, Oz. It's just this is a letter that Deb Haaland that was written to her by Jim Banks, and it was about how it was about January 6th, right? And so she's responding to that letter. And again, we've covered January 6th issue, and it's a bunch of malarkey. It's a bunch of distractions yet again. The fact, and they're doing this right before, of course, the anniversary, right? It's almost November. They're getting ready to do this, and they're bringing up things that have nothing to do with of any importance as these bills that are problematic are going to start to pass, like the $1.9 trillion now, bill that Joe Biden went down from 3.5 trillion that supposedly progressives wanted, and all the bullshit that's in that bill that nobody else is talking about. Right. So then this is her second tweet. It literally makes no sense. She proceeds to talk about, I wore a dress a month ago and people lost their minds in vitriol and attack. Meanwhile, we have members fraudulently claiming positions to access confidential information, abusing campaign funds and raking in big pharma cash while blocking leg. And we just legislation and we normalize it and shrug. And I'm going to read the next one. It never stops astounding me how much caution work goes in every single day to get everything right. 2 times as good to avert even the perception of a mistake, because if one happens, it's explosive. Just to look aside and know if you did anything close to what your peers do, it'd be over. Once again, she's a victim. It's not imposter syndrome when institutions actually do treat you differently, yet pretend they don't. It's not imposter syndrome when institutions treat hardworking newcomers like invaders, yet normalize and accept deep corruption or incompetency from people we're used to in power. Yeah. Anyways, this one goes out to anyone in any workplace setting who deep down knows that they need to put in Olympics level effort just to be treated as an equivalent to a junior varsity walk-on. I see you. It's not fun, but it's real and it's not in your head. Keep shining. I mean, I just want to puke after reading all of that.
Yeah, I mean, who's she talking about too? When she says, and raking in big pharma cash, talk about Ro Khanna, who just invested, his wife invested $300,000 into Merck before this fucking pill is about to go live, and they're charging 46 times the amount of what it costs to make, and they're going to make money off the backs of the working class once again, and it's your party who's got the hand in the cookie jar. Are you talking about Nancy Pelosi with the insider trader? Dianne Feinstein, who the hell are you talking about? But once again, fam, she's going to just make it be all about the Republicans and also the feelings, the emotional. Anyways, it's so hard. It's like being a walk-on, and it gets tiring and stuff. I wore a dress and everybody just lost their lid. No, you wore a dress just to show how funny you were, how you can just virtue signaling with tax the rich at the Met Gala instead of getting out in the streets with the activists like you should be doing.
Right. And there were activists right outside the Met Gala, literally getting arrested. Yeah. And it's a very tone deaf thing to do. And then, and it's funny because Steph Zamorano did a little bit on this, the designer, as we've talked about, they presented her as a working class woman. The woman is rich, is dating like a billionaire heir. I mean, this whole thing that she's some sort of victim, I don't care even about her language as much. The issue I have is there's no accountability for her mistake. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. That was tone deaf. She's not doing that. She's doubling down that she's a victim for people rightfully criticizing people are getting evicted. They're losing their jobs. They don't have any money. The president and Congress literally allowed benefits to be eliminated on Labor Day. And here you are at a place where only the top 1% go. And you think just wearing a dress is going to really do so much for the working class. It doesn't. And so people are calling her out on her bullshit, and she's making herself a victim. Yeah. And, part of the whole AOC mentality, that whole celebrity came from DSA, came from Justice Democrats and brand new Congress. So what I wanted to point out was this tweet that Kobe, who has his own show, he caught this. And this is from Quad Cities DSA. And I want to show you guys how hypocritical some of these people are. The Quad Cities DSA does not endorse a rally tonight at the John Deere Davenport Works, and we encourage our members not to participate. This is the DSA encouraging people to not participate in a strike when hundreds, thousands of workers across the country right now are striking. They said, we have concerns that due diligence has not been done surrounding potential legal risks and potential harm to striking workers. Yeah. Okay, first of all, if you're protesting or striking, you're protesting current laws, the current system. So why would that's the point? You're not supposed to necessarily fall in line. You have a problem with the status quo. So why the hell would you even think that, of course, there's going to be consequences? Duh, you're protesting, you're striking. So that doesn't make any sense. So Kobe quote tweeted this and said, DSA encouraging people not to participate in a strike because the state is threatening repression. And then he said, sometimes challenging power requires civil disobedience. A court trying to break a strike is one such situation. Exactly. Civil disobedience is what is required. So to me, it is really strange that DSA
Not strange to me, fam.
Well, yeah, but this is to their image, right? Like if you are who you say you are, but we know that CIA has infiltrated the DSA for a while.
We know that. And absolutely 1000%. You just hit it there right on the nose. I was just about to say that, but we said this before. All the John Deere workers, there are a lot of Southern white Trumpers, whatnot. And that's what this is about. This is about what DSA is all about. The CIA, COINTELPRO, making sure that sides stay divided. That's why they're not joining this particular march or this protest, whatnot. It's because who these people are and what team they represent. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this would be a great opportunity if we saw Hawk Newsom join with a bus pull up, a bunch of Black Lives Matter people saying, hey, we're going to come out here and march with you guys. I think that would turn a lot of heads. I think a lot of John Deere people would be like, holy shit, they're really out here. They're marching with us. Now we're getting more press. This thing is growing. That's something I want to see and I hope to see. But also, fam, DSA, AOC, they know their audience. Yeah. It's almost genius in a way. You know why the CIA's work with? They know their audience. They know the emotional left. They know how to tweak them. They know how to justify their fucking team sports mentality by doing shit like this, framing these people as like, oh my God, they lost their mind for the fucking dress. These people just can't stand me. And now you start picking sides, whatnot. We're not going to go out to the John Deere protest because of some bullshit reason. You know damn well it's because who those John Deere people are and who most of them fucking voted for. And that's what it is. We know this.
Exactly. And that's it, fam. I just wanted to really show for that section. That's a quick little section right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd like to see more people look into this, see what's going on. I'd like to see a little bit more people talk to those people on the ground. Give them some really hard questions, fam. Where are they marching at again?
John Deere.
Yeah, it's all over, right?
It's all over. It was John Deere Davenport Works in this particular one.
Maybe we got to get out there and ask these people some questions and stuff. Yeah. Spread some love. Show some love. Trey Wright is finally in the door. Trey, where you been? You're late, Trey. You got beat by Kristen Nye and Anna Maris, Trey, but we love you. He says, hi. No, love you, fams. No Jolly P, Sexy P, Johnny T. None of that shit, Trey. Come on. Where's the energy? We love you.
To answer your question, Molly is almost 13 years old. She's 12, almost 13. Oh. Yeah. So I posted something about, because Glenn Greenwald brought up an old article where he talked about how the Beagle Freedom Project and a few others were completely, like they did a lot of fights to stop the experimentation on a lot of drugs on beagles, particularly all dogs, but like beagles are the ones most used because they're docile. And I have a beagle and she was experimented on. She was abused and she found me. So that was really cool of Rand Paul and another Democrat, I forget her name, who worked on it, bipartisan bill to stop that. So that was pretty cool.
Just one super chat, fam. Super Ray. We get on to the next section. Is good?
Yep.
David Asper, they give it a Super Ray contribution. It is always appreciated in Niko Studio.
Yeah.
Guys, like, share, subscribe, get it out there. Help us out. Hit the share button.
Help us out in the algorithm. We love you guys. Okay. So I wanted to talk about Ilhan Omar, because a lot of the once again, the emotional left is like, yay, Ilhan Omar is fighting Islamophobia. But actually, this is an imperialist bill on Islamophobia. And I'll tell you why. And it's also very useless. It's also very symbolic, right? So she said, Scooplet, this is, I think, a writer for Huffington Post. She said, Ilhan and Jan Schwakowski are introducing a bill today that would create a dedicated high-ranking official who would monitor and document Islamophobic incidents worldwide. The details here. And so I'm going to read a little bit about the bill from the article from Huffington Post. And the federal government, right, would have a dedicated high-ranking official monitoring Islamophobic incidents worldwide. And this bill was introduced by Ilhan Omar from Minnesota and Jan Schwakowski. And then the special envoy for monitoring and combating Islamophobia would be embedded within the State Department and would monitor anti-Muslim incidents in foreign countries and document state-sponsored Islamophobic violence in the State Department's annual human rights report. Because the State Department is somebody you should really trust to combat Islamophobia. Yeah. But okay, the report, which carries significant diplomatic weight, does not routinely monitor such incidents. because they're too busy causing them. The bill, titled the Combating International Islamophobia Act and co-sponsored by Reps Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oh, you mean the President Iron Dome AOC? Oh, interesting. Rashida Tlaib, Mark Pocan, one of the biggest freaking warmongers, anti-Medicare for all, by the way, and Andy Kim, a Democrat from New Jersey, among dozens of other Democrats, comes at a time when anti-Muslim violence continues to rise. This summer, CNN reported the group was working on this legislation, and HuffPost has learned it will be introduced Thursday. And they quoted Jan, as part of our commitment to international religious freedom and human rights, we must recognize Islamophobia and do all we can to eradicate it. That's why I'm proud to partner with Rep. Jan Kowalski to create a special envoy to put an end to this bigotry, she added. So this, I forget who said this, but this is what they said that they united with, I think that was Ilhan Omar talking about uniting with Jan Schakowsky. For over a decade, we have seen increasing incidents of violent Islamophobia, both in the US and worldwide, from the genocide of Rohingya in Burma and Uyghurs in China to the attacks on Muslim refugees in Canada and New Zealand. Schakowsky said in a statement, it is past time for the US to establish a comprehensive plan for combating this hatred worldwide. Pasta, what is there any evidence of the Uyghur genocide to this day? Have they produced any evidence, right?
Not any credible evidence whatsoever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of people
We've talked about this numerous times.
They don't know China at all, fam. They think it's about a Muslim situation when, you know, that's East China, but even West China, there's Muslims living all over the place, you know, praying in their own. Yeah. You
don't have to love China. You don't have to be pro-China, but to make things up, that's the issue. And here's the State Department blatantly, right? The Uyghur genocide and the Uyghur attacks, and then the Burma too. They bring up all this stuff and they talk about democracy and like fighting Islamophobia. Well, wouldn't it make sense to fight Islamophobia by stopping our interventionism, stop bombing all these countries, stop sanctioning them, stop giving money to Israel to bomb Palestinians and Syrians? Wouldn't it be great if we just actually stopped fomenting some sort of, opposition to Iran, like all the time? Wouldn't that stop the Islamophobia? But they're not doing that. And they're not going to do that because this is what they want you to think. Oh, we care about Afghan women after decades of being engaged in war. And now we're going to send drones instead, you know, and this is the issue to me. This is hypocrisy, right? Because this is what I said, great. Now that all the bombing and sanctioning by the US and Israel on Palestinians, Syrians, and West Asian countries will be marked as Islamophobic, they'll surely appreciate it as they and their loved ones continue to die, because that's exactly what's going to continue to happen. That's exactly it, right?
Yeah. Well, a friend of mine, friend of the show's, fam, that, you know, we speak to, that's living over in the Middle East, who said this to me before. He goes, listen, tell your fucking Karens and your bourgeois synthetic left that we don't give a shit about the pronouns you use towards us. We don't care what you call us or how you frame us or what you think about us. Just stop fucking bombing us, okay? Stop bombing us. I mean, I was about to ask, how many Muslim countries are we bombing right now that we're in? Iran. We're not in Iran.
We're funding it via Israel,
Syria, right? Funding, and Hamas, you know,
Saudi Arabia.
I mean, all these countries, it's like to bomb Yemen, you know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. So stop with the bullshit right now. And this, once again, fam, Ilhan Omar, they know their audience. They know how to emotionally goat them, put the carrot in front of the emotional people. You know what I'm saying? The virtue signal is just waving there and they fall for it and stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Rather than stopping our American intervention, because what could be more racist, and I've said this for a long time, than bombing people in their own country, indigenous people in their own country, people of color, killing them right where they live and destabilizing their whole country and putting them to mass chaos, poverty, starvation, the whole 9 yards. That is real racism. Not the fact that we're going to stop using our pronouns, right? They don't give a fuck. They just want us to stop bombing.
What is bigotry?
So please stop.
Your words, stop bombing people, stop killing people, stop creating terrorists that then you say, oh, we have to eliminate them now. No, like you created them, the CIA, and you helped create them. Yes. The military industrial complex. Like this is not like like anything new. This is what's been happening. It just irritates me because these people fall for this bullshit type of legislation that does absolutely nothing to better the lives of the people we continue to screw with our sanctions and interventionism. And
notice you didn't mention India too, fam, real quick. Notice that she didn't do it because I think India is kind of with the State Department and our government is kind of on the fence. So India might be off limits right now because they might be a big adversary towards China. And since kind of Obama made a relationship with India, notice she didn't mention that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was kind of, when I was reading that thing, China's okay, mention the Uyghurs and stuff like that. But you hear a lot of progressives and the leftists, and they always talk about what's going on in India and whatnot too as well. But she didn't mention India because why? Because it's off limits for the State Department. You know who's running shit behind the scenes.
Exactly. So this is a bunch of bullshit. And you don't give credit here because it's a symbolic gestures, empty gestures to try to get people to feel like they care when they actually don't. So this is a reminder of the past votes of the squad. Mohammed Mo Mystery said, while we condemn AOC for voting president instead of no on sending an extra $1 billion to Israel, have we already forgotten that Ilhan Omar and Rep. Presley voted yes on sending unconditional aid to Israel not 2 months ago? Are they taking turns voting pro-Israel? Absolutely are. They absolutely are. That's what they do. Now, Samira Khan, reminder, she posted this. AOC, Ilhan Omar, Bauman, Presley have voted to impose sanctions on Cambodia. Now, Cambodia obviously isn't in the same region, but guys, this is once again voting for imperialist policies on a country in the South, and then calling themselves anti-imperialist. Your anti-imperialist icons are lusting for regime change in Cambodia. That's exactly what this is. We talked about this. Thomas Massey, Rashida Tlaib, Cory Bush voted no, and we talked about that. And then here it is. Last week, AOC and Ilhan Omar voted in favor of imposing sanctions in Cambodia. In March, both AOC and Omar voted to sanction Myanmar against the wishes of all of Asia. If you still refuse to believe they are enemies of the global South, you are also an enemy of the global South. And here again, just minutes before the HM sanctions, the squad voted on Libyan sanctions. And you can see how they voted. Yes, yes. Presley, yes. Tlaib, no. Bowman, yes. Bush, no. Like I said before, when it's based on foreign policy, Rashida Tlaib usually beats all of them, and she's not even that great. But that's what I'm saying. Like but they do take turns, right? They do take turns, and you can see that. And so it's really clear that people are finally seeing, oh yeah, these people take turns.
Yeah. I think Cory Bush gets to vote like no on a lot of imperialist stuff. But then she's got to be like the anti-election integrity and whatnot. And she gets to amp up more of the divisiveness war and stuff like that. Like when she was going, the white supremacist president. Yeah. And I'm like, and then you have a picture with you talking to Chuck, Chuck the schmuck, and you're pushing Biden. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Let's call it out. Let's be consistent. Biden is a bigger white supremacist than anybody right now in office ever. I mean, Jesus Christ. He said he didn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle.
Literally.
I mean,
did you guys forget
he wrote the crime bill. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen.
Patriot Act. I mean,
war in Iraq.
But they don't look at substance, Pasta. They don't look at substance. They look on emotion. This is why we're calling them the emotional left. And again, let's not forget that Ilhan Omar just gave accolades to Margaret Thatcher. And here is Gordon talking about this. Okay. He literally made a video on TikTok, and he's actually great at it, highlighting why people in the UK want her to find other people to be influenced by and to like. So let's watch the video.
Inspired her most to write it in a book was the UK's most hated politician of all time. And that is undisputable, by the way. Kids outside my flat were singing Ding Dong, the witch is dead when she finally kicked the bucket. But that's good enough to be one of Ilhan Omar's political role model. Who's your sporting role model? O.J. Simpson? Remember, Ilhan Omar's meant to be a progressive. She's a member of the so-called squad, which is also meant to be progressive. There she is, look, on the cover of Rolling Stone with another member of the squad, AOC, Nancy Pelosi. They call her Mama Bear, Wonder who AOC's political role model is, eh? Saddam Hussein? She'd be in good company. Margaret Thatcher was friends with Pinochet. Margaret Thatcher is the mother of neoliberalism, something that Ilhan Omar and the squad are meant to be fighting against. She was pro-death penalty. She was anti-divorce. One of the most authoritarian leaders we have ever had in the UK, and that's saying something. Her policies of privatisation and neoliberalism just destroyed the working class in this country and set the stage for subsequent governments to pretty much kill it off altogether. She even abolished free milk for school kids. before she finally went too far with the poll tax, and that finished her career off. And when asked why, Ilhan's response is because she was a woman. More identity politics, more virtue signalling. No substance there, no word on policies or what good she did in the world. No, she was just a woman, but she got there on her own, you see? And she did all that without any help from a man. And that's what really matters. Slay Queen!
What was the last
Slay
thing?
Queen. Literally, they do this though. Like, I mean,
That was fire, fam.
that was fire. That's why I wanted to show it. And this is a perspective from somebody that lives in the UK that knows, about Margaret Thatcher's type of governing. She's a neoliberal. She's like a classic neoliberal. How, as a person that's supposed to oppose that, do you give accolades to someone like that? And then, of course, slap on we're fighting Islamophobia, right? And that, again, this is why we have no friends in DC. This is why we're still talking about these politicians, because people still fall for this bullshit. Stop falling for the bullshit. They're liars. They're full of shit. They literally only do this for votes, just like Joe Biden, the Democratic Party. They run on things, right? They ran on free community college. We're going to expand Medicare. They're not doing anything at all. And this is once again what the squad is there to do, to play into that. Oh, we're progressives. It's just rebranded Democratic Party bullshit with a more woke language, but nothing of substance to actually change anything. And so
it's all about personal gain too, as well.
Yeah.
This is about the individual just climbing the ladder, whatnot. That's why they're like, all of a sudden, like, a person like Margaret Thatcher, the queen of neoliberalism, and a lot of people even know this. I don't even follow British politics that much, but I even know about this woman too as well. Should not be someone who's like praised or looked upon, whatnot. She's someone that the mentality of the exact person of who we want to fight against, of why we put the squad in office. And it's just a shame that they've gone away, because why? It's going to help their career. Oh, and they can dupe people, and they know the powers that be. It's like, hey, if you do an interview with this person, or if you praise this person, whatnot, we'll help you out and stuff. Because once again, you're going to dupe people. You're going to manufacture consent for the way people are treated. You're going to manufacture consent for imperialism, and they won't even know what's going on, because be so focused on what you do and what you wear and who you're about and your tweets and whatnot. Please. Just
exactly. Yeah. So that's it for that section, fam. And then we're going to get into it with Cory Morningstar. As soon as she comes on, we'll get started. Any super rays or anything?
Yes. Trey Wright says, I love you guys. My shit father turned my mood sour. Oh, Trey. Hoping the stream could lift me out of my mood. Again, love you all, and tell Molly I said hi.
Aww.
Let the Molly sit the floor.
I'll tell her.
And Trey, I know what it's like, dude. I'm with family right now. It's the family fucking dynamic, no matter who it is, no matter what they say. It's easy for us to get worked up and aggravated too, because that's a family dynamic and stuff. Sometimes you just got to brush it off and accept it for what it is. Now, I don't know your situation, brother. I'd love to sit down and talk to you about it more. You can call me up and stuff, but man, much love. I hope your father didn't piss you off too much. You got your fam here, because your fam is the friends you choose. That's what it is.
Yep. And
That's what your fam is.
We're just waiting on our guest, guys. She should be here shortly. I sent her the link.
It was great when I was leaving the show on Wednesday, whatnot, too. Had some people come over and say hi. My mom was kind of smiling. My mom was with me. She's like, it's cool, Craig. They come over, take a picture, want to say hi.
Yeah.
They love that stuff. But then as I'm walking out, said, some dude yelled up, hey, Pasta, tell Fee and Johnny that I said, I love you, fam. And I'm like, I love you too, man. And that's the shit I love when we get out there. When people say, I love you, fam. When you become part of the fam, it's short for family. You guys know that.
Family.
I mean, we are like, we were talking about this yesterday. There's a lot of avenues we could have gone. The avenues we chose to go, because a lot of people just go a certain way for the money, for the clicks and stuff like that. We go towards the truth, and whoever comes with us, and we're not going to change. We're always going to be honest with you and tell you our truth. Now, you might not agree with us and like a lot of things we say, or like some of the stuff we say, but we're always going to be honest. We're not going to do stuff just because it's going to help our popularity.
Right.
We become somewhat popular because we've stuck to our truth, because we've stuck to our guns. It's something that Niko said to me. He says, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to stick to the truth. We're going to stick to what we believe is right, and we will get rewarded for it, not just go a certain way. And I see a lot of people out there. I see candidates, politicians. I see activists. They go a certain way because it's part of what the crowd wants, and they want to be cool and liked. That's bullshit. You don't need to be listening to people like that. Not mentioning any names, Jordan. And you don't have to be listening to fake. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Oops, it came out. My bad. One more super rate from John Kemper says, Best news show of the day, fam. John Kemper, you are fam.
Okay, so I'm still waiting on our guest, but I'm gonna start talking a little bit about what we're gonna talk about. So we're gonna start talking about the Davos and what happened at the Agenda 2021 conference. That's a real thing. You can find the videos of what took place there. It was the World Economic Forum, and we've talked about this numerous times. They always have it every year. Recently, it was in Davos, and we've been talking about the Great Reset. We've talked about it with Steve, Slow News Day, Glory Jones. We've talked about a few other people started talking about it recently. The Gray Zone did an article talking about the fourth industrial revolution, but Cory Morningstar has been on this for a while. In fact, one of the podcasts she did with Whitney Webb a few years ago talked about the Green New Deal and why the Green New Deal was pretty much a Trojan horse for corporate privatization, the privatization of natural resources, also the turning into mining and lithium and all of that instead of what, just regular money, because now whoever owns all the resources of the world is in power. So what happens is these predator class, elites, whatever you want to call them, they get together and they have these forums where they discuss the next step in the world's evolution, right? And a lot of the things that were discussed were very scary. We've talked about the robots. We've seen the robots. We've seen the people with bullets. We've seen a lot of that, right? And so now we talked about the Thales ID wallet that is happening already. We've talked about how these connections between Bill Gates, Epstein, and all of these people are very real, and they have these interests. They talk about a new form of capitalism that they want to do, and of course, merging humans with technology, which is scary. Yeah, and that's the next phase that we're going to be seeing. So, just anything to comment on that before while we wait for our guest?
Well, Deponic says, "Thank you for the super great contribution. As always, appreciated in Niko's studio on the couch." No, fam, I saw this video. It was on YouTube the other day. It was like a commercial for this. I can't remember the name. It was a little robot they're giving to the kids. And the robot's kind of becoming like somewhat of a psychologist of sorts. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see the mother and father look from the side and the robot saying, "What's your name?" And it's a really sad kid. And it's like, "Here, turn him over to the robot. Let the robot's going, 'Hey, you want to go on a mission? You want to do some stuff? You want to talk about this? You want to talk about that?" Like, and I'm just like, this is some creepy fucking shit. It was like the video you played the other day with the whole passport with the face shit.
Yeah.
This was, I can't remember the name. It's like a Me Talks or Me Box or something. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. They are merging like, it's a transhumanist agenda where they're merging humans with AI, and now your kid's going to be taught by robots. And the kid keeps going, "Mom, we're going on another mission today." And I'm thinking like, there's a slippery slope here of what kind of missions these kids will be going on one day after taking their orders and they're getting brought up by a robot because the parents just can't figure out what to do. I know I'm a little bit older over here and shit like that, but my mom used to give me a kick in the ass, say, "Go outside and play." And go outside and fucking play. Not to say that there aren't kids with special needs who need special attention and stuff like that. But if we start making this a mainstream kind of thing where our kids are just attached to the internet, computers, and AI, it's going to be very scary.
Yeah, I'm 100%. And I think a lot of people will welcome it because we want things to be easy, right? It'd be like initially, before I was aware of all of these dark connections between all these people, I was like, yeah, like, why not like have everything in one spot? Because if you trust the system, then you're going to be more giving to it. But because the system we have and the people running the show are so corrupt and disgusting, and there's all this really gross predatory things and this sort of like what is it like where they experiment on people and like it's just really gross. And so that's something to me that I started shifting my perspective, because as a millennial, technology, I was pretty much born into the internet, right? Like I had the internet since I was a child. Gen Z is even more. So they're like relying on these kids to actually, be forthcoming with it. So that's why we really got to stop it. And our guest is here, I believe. We're getting her situated. You're a little blurry, but it's okay as long as we can hear you.
Okay. I don't know why it's blurry. Can you hear me? Hang on one sec.
No problem. No problem, guys. Any other comments in the chat, fam?
Nope. That's it right now.
Okay, guys. All right. So we're excited to have this guest on. I know Steve's had her on before, and a lot of people are very excited to see you, Cory. A lot of people are extremely excited.
1 second. Sorry. That help? Okay. Yeah, I covered that up. So that's probably why. Wait, is this live?
Yes, you're live.
Okay, great. Okay, hi everybody.
Hi. Welcome to the Convo Couch. Welcome to the show. Very happy to see you. Very happy to. I've been wanting to talk to you about this because you were the first, one of the first on this, Whitney Webb. I've heard your conversations, and really now, finally, a lot of people are starting to talk about this. Before it was like, it's a right-wing conspiracy theory. This is all conspiracy, even though the videos you could literally go online and find them. So I wanted to start off by talking about the, in particular, a few years back, you did a podcast with Whitney Webb, and you talked about the Green New Deal. And you mentioned that the Green New Deal was part of the Great Reset. Briefly, how is the cherished Green New Deal, as presented by the Democratic progressives, a Trojan horse for privatization and corporate control?
It's not actually, you can call it the Build Back Better, you can call it the Great Reset, you can call it the Green New Deal. It doesn't really matter. It's actually just gaining acquiescence, the social license to go ahead and unroll, for the Great Reset. So it doesn't matter what you call it. The same people that it's actually global. It's not just United States or the EU. It's actually a global thing right from the UN. And you can go right back to 2009 when they were thinking of unrolling, of rolling it out at that time. And they had some NGOs such as AVAS involved ready to roll it out, and things weren't ready yet. And so it's taken quite a long time to get the financialization of nature aspect ready to go. And so what we see now, I mean, it's not about a virus. It's not about your health. I think that's the most important thing to say and to make clear. This is about a whole restructuring of the whole global economy. And so rather than uniting and being against what's happening now, we're all completely lost, in this hysteria over a virus, over the mask mandates. We're divided against one another instead of uniting against the ruling class. So this is like major class war. It's been a long time in the making. And yeah, the Green New Deal is just a lot of more of the same, like basically under the guise of climate change, the financialization of nature, so that's the monetization of all life. So the whole thing is very, very anti-life. It's basically the whole transition is from the physical, the biological world to an artificial digital world. So much of this is conditioning.
Yeah. Well, hi, Cory. Thank you for joining the show, by the way. Pasta, nice to finally meet you and get you on the show. Fam has been talking. We got to get Cory on. And here you are today. Thank you so much. Let's build a little bit upon what you just talked about right over here. What's the mechanism they're using? I mean, in other words, how are they getting a lot of these progressives and a lot of these leftists and a lot of these woke people to kind of go along with this whole restructuring of everything they want to do as far as commodifying everything, every bit of nature and every bit of human life when it comes to the Great Reset and Build Back Better and whatnot? What's the main mechanism or tool that's
Foundation
used?
Money. Foundation money. I mean, that's what I've been writing about for so long. And that's why I was able to see this a long time ago, because I've been writing about this for years and years and years and years, and following this and watching the foundations basically buy up academia, buy up all the, movements, so-called movements. If they co-opt them, they even create them, right? So you've got trillions and trillions of dollars going into these NGOs, into nonprofits, and now, into science. It's just expanded and expanded and expanded. And so it's a huge regulatory coup. It's a corporate coup, and it's global towards a whole global system. And so, it's all money. It's all been everyone and everything's been bought up. And you have to make a distinction between left wing and liberal. I mean, liberal is not left, right? And there's like now a lot of liberals that identify with the system, right? The ones that benefit from it, while most people are.
Can I do a follow-up really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So do you think a lot of leftists, or no, I don't want to say leftists, or liberals or neo-progressives are duped somehow because of does American exceptionalism have something to play with it, our mindset over here, that we can get just so caught up on emotions and rhetoric rather than actual looking at the policy and what's involved there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole Trump thing, how it's been framed is if you're against this, you are, you're pro-Trump. I'm in Canada. I can't give I don't care about Trump or your politics or anything. Like, it's just like everything is framing, right? And social conformity, especially, is used as a weapon against us. And it's a really, really powerful weapon, right? And so a lot of people fall prey, especially in a era of social media where you're bullied, isolated, and so they've really, again, like, this is the biggest psyop I think ever pulled on the public. I mean, I wrote about the Greta psyop, and that was massive, but I mean, this is global. This isn't just, targeting Western populations. This is like a global project.
Right. You've talked about the Davos and the Fourth Industrial Revolution involving names like Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab. So what exactly can you highlight some of the connections among those people?
Well, basically the World Economic Forum, they've been, I mean, what we see now, the capitalist system, was late stage capitalism was in, everyone knows this, was in massive crisis, right? Over 350 trillion in global debt. I've been following for years, even in the first series of the Greta book that I wrote, I talk about that, capitalism is falling apart, the danger of that. And so this was like a resetting of the whole global economy, like being restructured. And the World Economic Forum basically serves as like a de facto, clearinghouse for all, global finance, everything. I mean, like I said, it's hard to articulate how much they've bought up. I mean, if you go and look at the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which now there's 4 global centers in the world and 14 affiliate centers, and there's all kinds of, what are they called? Global future councils, everybody, every politician. I mean, so many of the people that are at the helm of all the legislation and policy, they're all tied into the forum, right? If you go and look at the forum on the World Economic Forum's Advisory Council, the Board of Trustees, they're all there. BlackRock, the head of IMF, the prime ministers, they're all there. Right. So again, it's like this huge, massive consolidation of power for a very, very anti-life agenda.
Yeah. Well, in the States, I know it's like you said it's a global kind of like psyop, but in the States, we understand now, you said earlier that Biden and the Dem parties Build Back Better as part of this whole kind of like Great Reset plan. It's all the whole same thing. Is there a mechanism for the conservatives to get them involved, or they just plan to make them the enemy, them the domestic terrorists, and get rid of all of them one day eventually? Or are they going to try to kind of sheep herd some of these other people in? Do you know of any other mechanism they're going to use to try to get those people involved? Or are those just going to be used as the mechanism to keep people divided so they can get this agenda passed?
I mean, the right wing sort of.
Yeah. Because, I know a lot of right wingers are the ones who are like looking at this, or independent minded people and stuff,
right.
And Build Back Better, Green New Deal. That seems to be more appetizing to the leftist, or I don't want to say the leftist again, the liberals, the wannabe leftists and stuff. Is there a plan for them to sheep herd the Republicans or the conservatives in, or are they just going to be?
It's just been such an effective tool dividing the population. I mean, as Steve said from Slow News Day, medical tyranny is not partisan. For instance, we all have friends, family members that are, I'm really, really, maybe people would consider me ultra left. My family, my mom, my sister, they're not at all, right? They're more conservative leaning. They would call themselves liberal, but this is all distraction. This is just being used to distract. And I mean, all these campaigns and that, they're just, I can't really stress how much they're just complete distraction, right? And all this stuff is happening. The stuff that's happening could have never happened under any other cover. I mean, COVID has served as, you know, as Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum calls it, as the catalyst to roll out the fourth industrial revolution. So you have the monetization of nature, you have digital identity, which we need as basically that's the umbilical cord between each person on the planet and a smart city. It's like a huge digital infrastructure. You've got, you know, synthetic food. You've got the vaccine as basically the foundation of a bioengineering economy, you know, which is now unrolling across, being built, the infrastructure across the globe with taxpayer dollars. And we're infighting, right? Like we're fighting. And this is all being framed as a left versus right issue. And it's actually a human versus anti-life issue. It's a working class versus ruling class issue. I mean, liberals are not part of the ruling class as much as they'd like to identify with them and believe they are, they're not. You know, and the middle class in this will not be spared. They're coming after you. I was just watching a World Economic Forum video from 2015, where they're discussing between 67 and 77% of all jobs gone. And so this is happening, which means there's a real push right now for the digital identity, because digital identity is compliance built into the fourth industrial revolution architecture. You will become compliant by your services being attached to your digital identity. It is built-in compliance. And this is what people do not understand. You get your passport, and again, this is digital ID 2020, which is Gates, Rockefeller, Good Health Pass, which they just launched this year under another name. You get your digital identity, and that is your access to services. It's that they actually identify that as freedom as a service. And so when we talk about things, and a lot of your viewers will have heard about you know, what that one video that came out that I think has been deleted, and they talked about you'll own nothing and be happy. That's all part of freedom as a service economy, where everything is a service through access of your digital ID. And if you do not comply with whatever they like, you will be cut off of your service. And we've already seen, right? So this is huge. This is huge, and this is happening.
Guys, we're going to have to go to Rokfin only for the last couple questions, because I'm going to ask her specifically about the boop boop and all of that stuff that, you know, we will get censored on YouTube.
We don't want to get another
so I want to really get into the nitty gritty of why we brought her. So guys, go on to the Rokfin, Jonny and Oz. Let's get off the YouTube and everything else. But I wanted to touch on what you said as that's happening, because we're going to go. Okay, we're good. Okay. I wanted to really, you said, because you talked about the